Well, gloomy news on the jobs front this week. Another 85,000 workers added to the unemployment rolls. The White House now focusing attention on job creation, saying the latest jobs report is a call to action. Listen.
The sense that we need to do more is overwhelming, that we know there are things that have been working in the Recovery Act that are expiring, like some of the provisions for longer unemployment benefits, some of the state fiscal relief. I think that's going to be critically important to making sure we keep making progress.
But look at this. Since April 2008, the unemployment rate has more than doubled. And today it is standing at 10%, a double-digit problem that's now become a hot political issue. So is this simply the White House's responsibility? And what does Congress plan to do about it on the floors of Capitol Hill? Jerry Nadler, a Democratic congressman from New York, and Pete Olson is a Republican congressman from Texas. They both join me now to talk about this. You guys have really had your hands full. I mean, before Christmas break, you guys had to put together a health care bill, and now you got to figure out how to create more jobs in this country. Congressman Olson, what are Congress's plans?
Well, Julie, let's talk about how we got here, first of all. As you know, one of the first legislative packages that the Obama administration passed was almost an $800 billion economic stimulus package, which the president said was going to add 3.3 million jobs to our economy. Since that time, we've lost 3.5 million jobs. It hasn't worked. We need to do better, and we need to do it by empowering the American people, by letting them keep their money, by giving them targeted tax rates, tax breaks. And again, let them control their money and get our economy back on its feet.
Congressman Adler, you know, some economists feel that the president's $787 billion stimulus has actually helped avert even greater job losses. In fact, it has prevented more people from being unemployed. Had it not been for that stimulus, the number would be much higher. But, you know, others argue, Republicans especially, that the high unemployment rate proves that that $787 billion was an enormous waste of money. What does Congress foresee in the future regarding the potential of another stimulus? Because I understand that that is being considered.
Well, let me say, first of all, that Mark Zandi, who was McCain's economic advisor, estimated last January that the stimulus bill that we were about to pass, then that we did pass, would reduce unemployment by 2% from what it otherwise would be, and that it would be 12 to 12.5% without the stimulus, and 10 to 10.5% would peak at with the stimulus. Obama's economic advisor, Christina Romer, estimated that it would reduce unemployment by 2%, same thing from what it would otherwise be, but that the situation wasn't as bad, that it would only go to 10% without the stimulus and 8% with. Obviously, Zandi was right. I do think that what we passed, which included a third of that so-called stimulus bill, remember, was tax cuts. And a third was aid to local governments, and a third was things like infrastructure and job creation. And it was essential to slow down the collapse in the economy. Remember, last January, when Obama took office in December, we were losing 750,000 jobs a month. We're still losing jobs. It's now down to about 80,000 jobs a month. We've cut it by 9/10, which is good, but it's not good enough. And some of that stimulus is going to start wearing out next year. We should clearly do a number of things. One, we should pass legislation, which the House just did. We'll see what the Senate did. I don't think what we did was enough. We should pass legislation to put a lot of funding into creating jobs in infrastructure, roads, bridges, hospitals, mass transit, whatever, that create things that are good investments for the country, that put people to work. Secondly, we should give money to the states so that they don't have to lay off cops and firemen and teachers and so forth, or raise taxes, either of which are the two choices now, either of which is directly contrary to what the economy needs. And we ought to be doing that, and maybe some targeted tax cuts. But I have to say that the basic Republican plan, basic Republican complaint that, look, we've lost more jobs. You can't turn around an aircraft carrier in 100 feet. We were losing jobs at 750,000 a month. We had, during the Bush administration, the only 8-year period, as far as I can tell, in American history where we didn't gain net jobs. So we inherited a huge mess. I think the president's mistake was in underestimating the problem that Bush left us. And we are starting to turn it around, but we haven't acted enough. We ought to act more.
Congressman Olson, I'm going to let you respond.
I just respond with the fact that the president himself said our unemployment rate would max out at 8%. And we've been living for the last 4 or 5 months in the double-digit figures, slightly above 10. So the stimulus packages he's proposed didn't work. And we knew it wouldn't happen at that time. We need to have targeted tax cuts to help small businesses in this country, the economic engine of the American economy, get the revenue they need, the business they need, and get ourselves back on our feet. The large $800 billion stimulus package didn't achieve its goals. It was a disaster, and we shouldn't have. The talk about having another one, I can assure you there'll be almost unanimous opposition on our side about that. The first one didn't work. The second one won't.
The president's mistake, and it was a mistake, was to underestimate how bad the situation was that we inherited from Bush. Because he should not have said that unemployment would peak at 8%, when Mark Zandi, McCain's advisor, would say it was going to go to 12% without the stimulus and 10% with. The stimulus cut it down by 2%. And we have to continue. We have to increase that. The problem was we didn't do enough. And if we simply do targeted tax cuts to small businesses, they're not going to invest and increase jobs unless they have customers. You have to stimulate the demand from the customers, which is what I'm trying to do. What I'm talking about would do.
Okay, so we both of you have agreed that the president obviously underestimated unemployment. The problem now is
the president
is
underestimated how bad the situation was, but went in the right direction.
Okay, so responding to the jobs report on Friday, Congressman Olson, President Obama reminded Americans that $2.3 billion in tax credits will be expected. It was passed by Congress last year as part of the fiscal stimulus. We're still waiting to see the benefits. Should Americans begin to see the creation of more jobs come the rest of 2010?
Well, I mean, I think if they follow some of the things we've done in the past, I mean, again, given our markets, the small businesses, the ability to getting the government off their back and letting them make their decisions and grow their businesses, that's what will help our economy in the future. Things that have been talked about, we've passed a cap and tax bill, an energy bill in the Congress, which is just going to hurt our economy, increase the cost of doing business again. It gets through, it's going to hurt America. The health care debate that we've been having, we're talking again, trillions of dollars in taxes, I mean, billions of dollars in taxes on small businesses again in America, which at this time in our economic history is the last thing we need.
All right. Congressman Olson and Nadler, thank you very much for talking to us. We appreciate you coming on today.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your time today.
Well, the deep